Hey everybody, thanks for joining us today. My name is Elian Levatino. This is Hall Ballinger. We are both financial advisors here at Benchmark Wealth Management, and you've joined Financial Foundations. This is the month where we are answering your questions about retirement. So thanks for joining us. We're going to, each one of us take one of the questions that we get common questions, and these are some of the ones that we think we can address on video, short snippet videos. There are some that are more complicated. These are probably more complicated, and we're going to encourage you to sit down and talk to an advisor about them. But we'll hit the general pieces of the questions and touch on as much of it as we can. So, Hall, why don't you go first? One of the questions we get is, I've been saving for years. I've got different types of retirement accounts. I even have non-retirement accounts. I got a 401k, I got an IRA, I got a Roth. What do I do? How do I coordinate all the withdrawals when I'm ready to take the money out in retirement?
Yeah, so it's a great question, and it's one where people don't really think about leading up to retirement. Your whole life, you've just been adding to these accounts just consistently over time, ideally. And now when retirement comes, it's a completely different mind shift of going save, save, save to now I'm retired. I don't have that income that I once had. And now I need to start pulling from these accounts, which is planned for. It's why it's there. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's shifting that mindset completely to, instead of adding to it, you're pulling from it. So what does that look like? That's a question a lot of people like. Do I just go in and grab a handful of money? That'd be pretty cool. But no, there's a lot of different options you have to look at it from the technical side. You can set it up. Most people opt to set it up directly to draft into their bank account. Any checking account, savings account, whatever is going to be most convenient for your budget schedule will work the best. And a lot of people like the monthly reoccurring. They like to feel like it's a paycheck still coming in. You can do it twice a month, every week, whatever's most convenient and comfortable to your overall budget, and just your knowing that you're going to stay on track and that you have that security coming in.
Do they have to call their financial advisor every month and say, hey, I need the amount deposited now? Or is that something they can set up regularly?
Thankfully, no. So you can, and anyone would love to talk to you, but once you set it, you can basically set it and forget it. If you ever want to make adjustments, you're like, hey, money's tight, a little tight this month. I need to increase that. Or you know what? I found this side hustle or this passion project that I really enjoy, and I'm getting kind of paid for it. So maybe I don't need to take as much out. You can always call and change that, reduce it, increase it, whatever you need. And so from the technical standpoint, you can take it on a monthly recurring basis. Some people opt to say, I don't need this money right now. I'm fine. I'm just going to take it once a year, and to satisfy any required minimum distributions, anything like that later down the road at age 72 and over for that particular one. And
then we're actually going to touch on that during the next video. So come back next week to talk about R&Ds.
Little teaser. And then the other discussion is, okay, I have multiple accounts. I have pre-tax money. I have post-tax money. I have non-tax advantaged money. Which buckets do I pull from? What's the most strategic for my situation? And you don't want to, there's not a set answer. There's not all right, you're going to do A, B, C. It's specific to your current tax situation. Your tax bracket has a lot to do with it. You want to make sure you're doing it as strategically as possible to mitigate as much taxes as possible. Love the government, don't want to pay them more than we need to. So the goal there is to make it as strategic as possible for your personal situation. If you're not sure what that looks like for you, feel free to reach out, ask us questions, and we'd be happy to help. Anything to add?
Yeah, I'm with Hall 100%, because what we do, we organize retirement plans around taxes. There's certain things where we don't want the tax tail to wag the dog, and so if we need to pay some taxes, we'll pay some taxes, but strategically keeping the effective tax rate down as much as possible. But if you're going to take a big vacation and you make that phone call and say, hey, I need X number of dollars because we're going to Europe for a couple weeks, just go for it. Do it. We'll pay the taxes. Don't really want to, but it's on the table because you plan for it. And being able to execute on the plan and enjoy retirement is top of the list.
That's the goal. And one thing I'll add is there's also something called strategic giving. So if you do any giving in retirement, you can do that strategically and lower taxes as well, and not necessarily have to do it out of your bank account. but there are a few different accounts that you can pull from to make that as efficient as possible too.
Yeah. One of the questions I get it's incredibly difficult to answer, and especially on video, is what if I don't have enough money to save for retirement? That can be a really tough question. It can be heartbreaking. But it can also be something joyous when you overcome that challenge. And I think a financial advisor is worth their salt when it comes to that kind of thing. But one of the first questions I ask is, are you not able to save for retirement because you have an income problem or you have an expense problem? The income problem is obviously pretty difficult. The expense problem is difficult, but they can both be overcome. So my question, I usually answer that question with another question: is what are your priorities? Is the mentality of, okay, we need to do all of these 50 things every month, and then whatever's left over we save for retirement? Or are you prioritizing it and flipping your budget upside down and putting it somewhere close to the top? You've heard me say it month after month on these videos, and I'll continue to say it, that being intentional and planning for it is probably the most effective way to set money aside for retirement. Now, where the retirement money goes, which type of account it goes in, that's a separate conversation that we can have another time. But without getting too technical into all this, what are you prioritizing? What are you making important? Because the things we make important are the things that we get done. So if you're making retirement a priority, if you're making saving a priority, if you're making putting money aside for your college kids a priority, setting money aside for your kids to go to college, if you're being intentional about those things, those are the goals that get done. If you're trying to go it alone, look for some accountability, ask for some help, talk to some friends, come talk to us. But in the grand scheme of things, we want to help you plan this out, being intentional, setting those goals, and helping you hit those goals. You got anything you want to add to that piece?
I would just say with if you look at your budget month to month and you're like, you know what, you have the budget, that's a win right there. So you're in the right position. But now it's just gaining that awareness of, I don't feel like I have enough. All right. So now from that, where are you going? Let's review the budget. Are you living on beans and rice and beans, as people say? Not everyone wants to make those sacrifices, and that's okay. Just be aware of the sacrifices that you are making. I'm not going to sacrifice and do beans and rice, but I'm going to sacrifice some in retirement. As long as you know that trade-off, that's what's important. We'd also really encourage, okay, we've tackled this side of it. Like Elian said, the expense side we think is nailed down pretty tight. Let's look at the income side. What can we do? It's a gig economy. There are a lot of things you can pick up on the side, weekends. We've seen a lot of creative solutions to that problem. And some people make some pretty serious money, and they've been able to save and retire sooner than they originally anticipated because they realized, oh, I do enjoy this side hustle. It's becoming a game. They gamify it to see, okay, I want to retire at this point. So they determine I need to work this much. And so just know that trade-off. Just have that in mind, set a goal, and work towards that goal.
And sometimes just as effective as saving for retirement is paying down your debt.
Yep.
Not having any debt walking into retirement, you're not going to have any payments. Therefore, your expenses are going to be lower. Therefore, you don't need as much in retirement. There's some trade-offs of things you can do today in anticipation of the future. We're here to help you with that, whether it be budgeting, saving for retirement, education plans, tax planning, effective strategies for estate planning. We're here for all of that. So give us a call if we can help you with any of that. Thanks for joining Financial Foundations with us today. Hall Ballinger, Elian Levatino. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.